My name is Lois Leke-Amoo. I'm a mom every day and a wife every day. I'm a stay-at-home mom and I work from home. I run a jewelry business, literally online. Everything I do is online except the production, which I do from my house. Okay, so my pregnancy journey was a journey. It was very tough. 9 months felt like 9 years. I had fibroids growing alongside the pregnancy, so it made everything very complicated. I was always in and out of hospital, making sure that the baby was being monitored and everything was going according to plan. And I had to be off work throughout the whole period of being pregnant because any small amount of stress will make me have pains and sometimes I will bleed. There was a lot of drama. I knew I had fibroids before I got married. I got married in 2018. In 2017, I had an episode where I was in serious pain. I had to be rushed to the hospital, and then we had to do scan. And then found out that there was one fibroid cell and it was degenerating. So I asked questions. What does it mean? When you say it's degenerating, what does that mean? And said, oh, it means it would resolve on its own, But if you have somebody who is interested in you, in fact, that's how the doctor said it. If you have somebody who's interested in you, better say yes and get married now and start having your children immediately. I'm like, is it that serious? And I remember that I even told my then fiancé that I don't think we can continue because I know how much you love kids and, this kind of poses a threat to whether we're going to have children immediately or have children at all or not. And he told me he wasn't marrying me for the children. He was marrying me for me. So we got married. And then 1 month after getting married, 1 month and exactly 4 days after getting married, I started having the kind of pains I had the previous year. And I was like, okay. I didn't even want to tell my husband initially because I was like, he feels that I overthink things and so this might just be a figment of your imagination. But I knew that no, it wasn't a figment of my imagination. I went to the hospital. And my prayer all the way to the hospital was, God, please don't let me be pregnant. Let's just that it's fibroids we're dealing with. So hearing I was pregnant. And that wasn't even the only thing. I was pregnant, I had fibroids, and then I had an infection which was threatening the pregnancy. And then doctor told me, I just started laughing in the office. I said, you're laughing, man. I said, okay, so what's the way forward? She said, place you on antibiotics for 10 days and hopefully the infection will clear and everything will be fine. But you have to really take it easy with this pregnancy. Pray that you get to the end of your pregnancy. So it was like a prayer to get to the end of the journey with mother alive, child alive. It was a trial of my faith at the point in time. So my mental state, it was on and off. Many times I just did what I had to do. I tried not to think about it because thinking about it made me feel inadequate, made me wonder, what did I do? Why am I having to go through all of this plenty journey, plenty wahala? And the kind of person that I am, I love to go out, meet people. I love to do my business. It gives me joy. So to tell me that I won't even be able to do that for 9 months wasn't something I was willing to take. And so for the first 3 months, the first trimester, I obeyed to the letter. I didn't do anything. After that, I started pushing myself. Now, I'll push myself and I know that I'm doing something I shouldn't do. I'll pray about it and I won't tell anybody how I'm feeling, especially the pain. I'll just be silent. I'll just know that you brought this one upon yourself. So my mental state was I just try not to think about it. But there were many days that I would cry. I would not even have the strength to get up and go and have my bath. I wouldn't even feel motivated to do anything. There were times that my husband would get back from work and it's the exact same place that he left me that he will meet me. But I just said, okay, 9 months. I kept counting down. I was counting down very eagerly. Okay, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And then I had support. I had support of family, especially. I had support of a few friends who I told. And I wasn't very vocal about it because it's a journey that no one can really understand except you've been through it. And I didn't even find anybody who had been through that kind of journey at the time. So it was like I was walking the journey alone. My baby was due to be born in February 2019. But in October 2018, when I went for one of my antenatal checkups, they didn't hear the heartbeat of the baby. They said they think that it was the fibroids that was causing. I mean, the doctor was on the matter for more than 20 minutes. And then he was starting to panic. He had this worry look on his face that, why can't we hear the fetal heartbeat? And said, I'm sure it's just the fibroids. Just come back in 2 weeks when it's your next appointment. And I'm sure we'll hear it. I was like, 2 weeks? I should go and... You're telling me to go and come back in 2 weeks? No. And he was like, madam, just calm down. Okay, your mental state is very important. I'm like, if my mental state is important and you're giving me that kind of news, what kind of state do you expect me to be in? But I said, okay. I remember I got home that day and I sat down on the floor and I wept. And I said, God, if we're not going to get to the end of this journey, we can just end it now. Because I don't have the strength to do this. I have been through too much in the last couple of months to get to this point that I called my husband, I told him how everything was unfolding, and he was like, just calm down. I'll try to be back early. When he got back, he held me. I even felt him crying a bit because it was just a very crazy point. I'm not working as I love to do. I can't do, I'm resting every time. Why are you not hearing the heartbeat of the baby? I was frustrated. Towards the end of 2 weeks, I went to spend a couple of days at a friend's place because I was literally going crazy. I was the only one at home till evenings. It wasn't good for my mental state. That was the time that I knew that yes, the devil could plant a lot of seeds in my mind and they were growing. And my friend, amazing girl, she gave me her baby. She had a baby. She had a 3-month-old baby. I said, carry this baby. As you've carried this baby, you carry your own baby. And we both wept, and it was like a promise from God, and I just held on to it throughout the remaining months where different things were just happening. I won't be able to sleep well. I can't turn to my sides too much because the baby was becoming very active, kicking and all of that. After the 2 weeks, we had the heartbeat, so baby was active, now showing herself that I'm here. So it was really hard. And then in December 21st, woke up Saturday morning. I couldn't even do chores. I couldn't go to the market. So my mom was around because she came around a lot during my pregnancy, and she said, okay, let's eat. What do you feel like eating? I said, let's take akara. It's been a while. We made akara and pap. We're eating. And all of a sudden, I felt pressed. I ran to ease myself. Got back, sat down, not up to 5 minutes. I felt pressed again. I went to use myself. And then I got back to the table and I was telling my mom, I know that they say 3rd trimester, the baby is literally in your pelvis, but this one, I don't understand though. I'm going to use myself a lot. And she was like, just keep taking water. So I was taking water and then I'll go and use myself. I was taking water. And it didn't dawn on anybody. I mean, I was the first timer, so I didn't even know that anything was going on. It was in the night that my mom just said, hold on, you've been going to the toilet a lot to use yourself. Are you sure you're not draining? They will too need draining, ma. Said, okay, lie down, let's examine you. And as I just laid down, the water just came out. She said, "You're not easing yourself. You are draining. We're going to the hospital." This was to 10. I said, First of all, I've not had my bath today. Then go and bath. I'm packing your bag. I'm sure they're going to keep you in the hospital at least tonight. And then we got to the hospital and they said, no, this is serious. You're going to be in the hospital till you give birth. Sir? This is 4 days to Christmas. You guys have to be joking now. Is there no way, you can give me something I can take at home? I promise I won't even move a muscle. I said, no. We have to admit you because we have to give you fluids and we have to check how much water is being lost because we might have to do an emergency CS if the water is going down so much, like the quantity that is left. At that point, I just kept quiet and my husband was like, "Are you okay?" And I looked at him like, "Am I supposed to be okay right now?" "Okay, fine. Yeah, let's get admitted." And that was a Saturday night. So there was no way to go and do scans till Monday. So I was taking drips like every 4 hours. Rush. So I was taking like 6 drips a day. Yeah, 6 drips a day. And Monday went to do the scan. The sonographer was like, "The water is really low. What is your doctor saying?" I said they're trying to manage me to 34 weeks so that the baby will have long maturity and all of that. And I said, "Okay, the water is low." Later I got the report. I have doctors all around me. My elder sister is a medical doctor. So I sent it to her. "Cecile, what's up?" And she was like, "Okay. Can I talk to the doctor that is attending to you in the hospital?" I said, "Well, you know how Nigerian doctors can be." I said, "I know, okay. Just tell him that when do they intend to give you dextrose?" I said, "What's that?" I said, "To help the baby's long maturity." Okay. So with that information, I kept asking, "Will I be giving dextrose? Will I be giving dextrose?" He said, No, we're trying to manage you 34 weeks. I said, "Okay, so what happens if we are not able to get you 34 weeks? Finally, I was giving dextrose. I think I was giving dextrose 3 days before my baby came. 72 hours before she came. And the minimum is 48 hours for it to have effect. So I think that, with the benefit of hindsight, God was really working behind the scenes to ensure that everything was just in place for her early arrival, which we didn't even know. The night before she came, I couldn't sleep. But it wasn't the usual just pain and not being able to lie down in one position. Then women, they try one position for like 10 days. But that night, I couldn't even breathe. I was gasping for air. My husband was lying down on the bed beside me in the hospital, but he didn't even know. So I started praying, "God, wake him up." Because I can't even communicate to him. I can't stretch to press the emergency bell. I can't do anything. We can't end this journey like this. You said it will end in praise, so wake him up. And all of a sudden, he just woke up. "Are you okay?" And I was just gesticulating like. So he quickly pressed the bell, ran down. He didn't even wait for them. We ran downstairs, called the doctor. They came up. They had to give me an oxygen mask, sit me up, help me. They got machines to check fetal heartbeat and my own BP, pulse. They're just checking different things. Every 15 minutes, the machine will beep. They will check, record it. We're like that till 4 a.m. I was able to sleep a little bit sitting up till 6 a.m. And I remember that in the middle of that, my husband picked his phone and started sending messages to all our mommy and daddies. "This is the situation. Please pray." I couldn't even say, "Okay, babe, calm down." I couldn't say anything. I was just praying under my mind that, "Lord, even if you want to take me, at least spare this baby. This baby has fought to be here." By morning, at 8 o'clock, the doctor came in and said, "You're going into distress. You have preeclampsia. So we're doing an emergency CS." And I was like, "Okay, alright." I just told my husband, "Call mommy." I said, "Okay, I'll call her." And I was just, all the way to the tears, I was thanking God that, first of all, they could take that decision. Secondly, that I had taken dextrose, so I wasn't going to be too scared about how her liver was or long maturity rather. I wasn't going to be too scared about that. But there were so many unknowns. I didn't even know what it meant to have a Premie baby at the time. I'd only heard about it in passing. I hadn't done any research because I wasn't praying to be there. 34 weeks is still okay. 35, 36 weeks, we're good. But then she came at 32 weeks and she was really small. She was 1.45 kg. No, nothing prepares you for it. Nothing. No matter how much someone tries to explain it, nothing prepares you for the emotions, the sadness, the pain, the frustration, the anger, the fear. Fear is so thick you can't touch it. The birth, as I earlier mentioned, was emergency CS. We got into theatre and that was my first time being in the theatre. I was shocked. I literally had goosebumps all over my body. I was like, am I going to lie? That thing? I was wielding, but then it became real delight. Oh my God. And then they were saying, just calm down. And then the whole breathlessness came again. So they had to give me oxygen masks in the middle of the procedure and the epidural. There are many things that are very annoying about that thing. First, they put catheter in you. Oh my God. No. And then the epidural. And then you can't feel your legs. And then the birth. She's a fighter. She came out screaming. When I heard her cry, I was like, yes, thank you, Jesus. They were so good. They allowed me to go in with my playlist. So I had songs playing on repeat and just trusting God to walk us through this journey. They brought her to me. Can you see her? I couldn't still, I just nodded. Like, I can see her. And they took her out. And they stitched me. But they put a screen, I think somewhere in the middle, before they completely finished. The bit of the screen went down and I saw my leg. I looked like someone that had elephantiasis. What? Is this my leg? And I just went wide and the anesthetic saw it and I was like, please lift that screen up now. Because I was going into shock like, what's this? And so it took me out, went to the recovery room, and then I had Rigor. I learned a lot in this process. Like, I knew some terms now. Wow. And I was just shaking. And my mom just kept praying, Oluwa, Sheila Shepe, you've done it, you have our baby. Don't let us lose the mom. Because my temperature just kept dropping seriously. So they were rushing a lot of, God knows what, I don't remember now. But they were rushing a lot of fluids and just trying to make sure that my temperature was at least close to room temperature. At some point it was 20. And then we got to 25 and then the anesthetic was like, okay, I'm going to be here till she gets to room temperature. This woman, we can't lose her. And I was in and out of consciousness. So the birth was okay as can be expected of an emergency CS. I mean, we weren't prepared for it, but God helped us. We did it. The aftercare. I wasn't even allowed to hold my baby till 7 days after giving birth to her. And even that, it was just very brief. And I remember when I held her, I was like, I can't even describe the feeling. It was just like, you made it. It was very surreal. But it was nothing compared to when we brought her home. We brought her home 2 weeks after she was born, against medical advice. Because they wanted her to get to 1.6 kg and she was 1.5. But we brought her home because we felt we could do better at home caring for her. The hospital tried, honestly, but we all know how medical care in Nigeria is. It's whack, right? To a large extent. Their nursing care was not it. The doctors tried, but the nurses, there were 2 occasions where we were in the hospital and she was crying. It was time to feed her. She was crying and nobody was there to attend to her. I can't even talk about myself with the aftercare because doing a CS and trying to heal from a CS is one ballgame. But I didn't even have the time to heal from it. I just continued. Life just continued. I gave birth to her on a Friday. By Saturday evening. Saturday evening? Saturday morning. Yeah, 24 hours after, I was asked to go back to my room. And I was going to climb the stairs. So I just had to be fine, sha. Nobody cared how I was having pain. I couldn't even really take painkillers because I'm breastfeeding. And then my baby, you're not taking as much care of her as you should. So we brought her home. And that was where the fear really entered. We got the room ready. They said it needs to be hot. The cord needs to be okay. We did everything. But the minute we got home and I took her into the room, I started crying. Cannot do this, though. I don't know what this means, though. How will I have my first baby and she's Premie? And with everything I went through in the pregnancy, we are going through this. And I remember calling one of my doctor friends and just crying, please come and take care of her. I said, am I the mother? I said, I can't do it. I said, God will not give you what. I said, please don't speak Christianese for me right now. Because that just sounds like Christianese. I said, I can't do this. Have you seen this child we are talking about? And I locked myself in the room and I kept crying. Oh God. Because so many things were going through my mind. What if God allowed you to give birth to this child, bring her home, and then He takes her? Ha! The aftercare. The 2 hours strict feeding. Using cup and spoon and syringes. And the 2 hours is round the clock. So, I wasn't getting enough rest. My mom was here. My husband was here. But even with those hands, it didn't feel adequate. The fact that we couldn't bathe her immediately, we had to just clean her and we couldn't expose her so that she doesn't get a cold. And there were just too many rules. And then you ask people, I asked some of my friends who I found out that they had Premie babies, and then one who told me, you iron her clothes, so you kill the child. I'm like, on top of what I iron clothes? No. Activate the blood of Jesus. I wash the clothes. I will sprinkle the blood. I know when for. I can't add more to what it is. It's exhausting. It's draining. Prayer. I think my prayer that period was just tears. Just have mercy. That's all I was praying for. Mercy. That's all. And He had mercy. As a Premie mom, you don't have a mental state. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. You're not really allowed to have a mental state because babies generally can sense things. But I think Premie babies are even worse. Like, even though they are really small, they can pick up your mood and it becomes their mood. So, I wasn't really allowed to have a mental state when I'm with her. I try to smile, sing for her, tell her she's lovely, she's wonderful, and I got bibs. Yeah, I had different inscriptions. You grow, girl. That was my favorite. And every time I wore it for her to feed her, it was like a prophecy, declaration, you will grow, girl. You will grow past this. We will both grow. You will be fine. But when I'm not with her, I cry. I cried a lot. And for me, crying is very therapeutic. It just helps me get out what I can't see. I remember one particular incident where I was crying and wailing, those kind of sobs that choke in your throat. And I had to do it in muffled whispers because I didn't want to wake her. She's always been very sensitive to sound. So I was crying and my mom came and met me and she was like, "Why are you crying? Something happened." She was trying to, encourage me to, "No, don't do this. God has brought us this far." And I had to tell her, "I need to cry. I can't do this. You don't know how it is for me. Like, you're the grandma and I know how much you feel this. So imagine how I feel this, how I'm scared." And that particular incident, it was right after I fed her the night before and she aspirated. Now that's something that any mom who has a Premie baby should know. It will happen. It's not will it. It will happen. It's the number of times that you can't see. Your baby will aspirate. Nobody told me that. And it was a very scary thing. Food was coming out from her nose, from her mouth. It was like she was choking, and I was the one that fed her. So I felt very responsible. Like, what did I do wrong? How did I feed her? And so after that, I couldn't feed her for like 2 days. I always push it to my husband or my mom. I was too scared to do it because I was like, what if it happens again? Until I read that it happens, okay? It's normal. But it's still not normal. It's a very scary thing. The second time that it happened, I think it happened like 3 times before we passed that stage. Second time that it happened, I wasn't the one. But it was still scary to see her not able to breathe, not knowing that she could open her mouth, having to help her open her mouth and all of that, and then clean it, speed of light. So I cried a lot. My mental state was a mess. I couldn't pray. People tried to send me links and say, "Oh, read this, oh, hear this." And I beg. I started to feel better when I found somebody whose daughter is 9 years now, and she was a Premie mom. I started to feel better when I had a face-to-face conversation with her and she hugged me and I was able to cry. She was like, "Don't worry, I know exactly how you're feeling." And so that was very important for me. Finding somebody you could talk to, not just talk to over the phone, but you could talk to face to face and say, "I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. Is this child going to make it? People should just tell me now so that I know what to prepare for." Excuse me. And, going forward from there, she told me what to ask the doctors when I go for hospital visits, what to look out for, and that really helped me. That really helped. Support. I had support from family, like I said, my mom, my mother-in-law, my husband, my sister, who really wished she could be with me at the time, but she was not available. She doesn't stay in Nigeria, so it was just calls, video calls, messages, prayers, money. All of that is good, but having people who can listen to you just vent and they are not directly involved, I think it's really helpful, because I couldn't rant to my husband. He was directly involved. I couldn't rant to my mom. She was directly involved. But I had friends who I could run to once in a while and just say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Really. That helped. Okay. I've gotten truckloads of negative comments. I remember the first time we went for immunization and we had to wait for her to be 2.5 kg for we could immunize her. And so they asked, when was she born? She was born in December. I think we went to immunize her. She took immunization in March. I said, Kelode. And I had to be doing explanations for them to even write on her card. They didn't want to write. I had to explain. She came early. I said, okay, you should be giving her, come and say unsolicited advice of what to give her. I said, okay. My aim, please write on her card her name. That's when she came. I said, okay. I got a lot of negative comments even from some people I didn't expect. Well, maybe not exactly negative comments, but let me say insensitive comments from some people in church, wondering, okay, she's taking only breast milk, but what are you taking? It's whatever you take that she will take from the breast. You should be eating fatty foods. You should be eating. You eat very well. When you eat very well, when she sucks the breast, she will add weight. I killed myself over and over about her weight gain, how much weight she was gaining, and how fast she was gaining the weight. And she was taking her sweet time to even gain the weight there. So it was a lot, but I had to make up my mind that she was fine. I was doing the best I can. She was taking her time, and she was going to be alright. And even some other people. I mean, you just get comments from people you feel should know better, right? It always makes a mother feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. As a Premie mom, you already feel like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then somebody reinforces that statement by an insensitive comment that they make. But then I also had people who just hug me and say, you're doing amazing. But I found it very hard to believe that, because other people would say things that made me feel like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to balance it out. But the most important thing is getting affirmations from people who matter. At some point, I stopped hearing. I'll hear it, but it will go out the other ear, or I'll just hear it, sit down, laugh, and let it go. My husband was always saying, Jenny is blessed to have you. I'm blessed to have you. Like every single day in that season, he was always saying, you're doing it, but I see everything you're doing, and I appreciate you for everything that you're doing. And that meant a whole lot. A bowl. It's a bowl of syringes, or what is left of it. We started keeping it when we wanted to have an idea of how many syringes that we used to feed her during that period. And we didn't even start immediately. We used about 2 packs of those 100 syringes. So this is just evidence to remind us of how far we have come. Okay, so apart from negative comments, there are comments that you know that they are coming from a place of love, but they are also insensitive. I told you that my pregnancy journey was very hard. Then I had a Premie baby, and I still couldn't get back to work. I still couldn't do a lot of things. I had to put her first all the freaking time. Now, some people were giving me advice based on love, but it was still insensitive. Advices like, oh, you need to still be able to push yourself. You need to still be able to do X, Y, Z. You need to still be able to live. Hello? Excuse me. Are you me? It's me, you? Are you going through what I'm going through? This is the best way I can live right now. And please, friends, we know you love us, but just try to give us time. We know that we need to live. But at that point in time, I remember I caught off from some of my friends because they just were not getting it. I tried to explain. Even I couldn't explain it in full. Because it's not something you explain, it's something you experience, really. And then you're still telling me, when are you coming? Someone sent me a message one day and said, you marry and have baby now. And that's the end of the Lois world. It's like, it's not the end, but right now, the Lois world is not the focus. And I was trying to explain to her, I was like, even then, you still have to make out that. And then I was just doing, make out. Wait, I was feeding this child every 2 to 3 hours. It takes us 40 minutes to feed her. So let us just say I feed her every 2 hours. Right? I have less than 2 hours to rest, to do, and the rest was not even happening. You wash, you sterilize stuff, you get milk ready, you express, then you have to eat in between all of that madness, do her laundry. 24 hours never felt enough, really, those first few months. It didn't. Sanity. I don't think I had it though. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I was sane. Without trying to sound religious or overly spiritual, God is just the only thing that could have kept me sane. God and having the kind of husband that I have. That's what kept me sane. And then, there's one more thing. Taking pictures is very important to document the process because it helps you be able to thank God for how far. So I remember when she was like 5 months, I looked back to when she was born and I was just crying. And it was tears of gratitude at how far we had come. We still had some issues, but it can't be as bad as where we are coming from. Dear Premie, it is hard what you are going through. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation. But just breathe. Take one day at a time. And try not to beat yourself up about what you can't control, about what is going on with your child, what you could have done to cause it. Oh my God. I heard some comments like that. Taking too much plantain. That make you have a Premie baby is not your fault. But this child is depending on you right now. So just breathe and do what you can for your baby. And it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to be angry. Even with God. If I may add, Folu. It's okay. He sees, he knows, he understands. Leave. And breathe. Cry when you need to cry, please. Nobody got any awards for being a superhuman or a super mom. Cry. The journey is frustrating. But don't give up. Never give up. Cry, rant, ask for help. Do what you can. Don't give up.